Hilchos Sotah. Perek Shlishi. Hilchos Sotah Perek Gimel. This Perek goes to the actual Sotah for Dummies procedure. How to go through the procedure. What page are we on? Gimel? 444?
Yeah.
444. What's the procedure to make the Sotah drink the Sotah waters? Baal Bola based in should be universal, and the Baal comes to local Bezin. He tells them, this woman, wife of mine, I warned her not to seclude herself with this individual. She did anyways. These are the Adim who saw me warn her, and the Adim, if it's the same two or different two, who saw her seclude herself. But here and there, she said she did nothing wrong except for secluding herself. But I wanted to have her drink in order to inspect the matter. Amazing. Bezin hears the testimony, and after they verified the testimony, two Adim are brothers, everything is correct. They give him two Adim who are who are going to guard him, and not just to lava, but also the point is that perhaps in the time between Bez and Paskin, she has to drink, and the actual drinking, he's going to have relations with her, which is not allowed. So that's a law of attitude. So she's also on him until she actually drinks, because she's a suffix Zaina. And they send them off to Yerushalayim after passing that everything is verified. Even though there's legitimate bezin in his city, even as Sanhedrin of 20 people, the unique halacha about Sotah is it has to be done in the bezin Hagadol, Sanhedrin Gedela, of the 71 who came in the Sotah.
It still coincides with the original halacha that we learned that even if you told her you cannot seclude yourself with your own father,
right?
She's still a suffix.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's irrelevant who the man is, as long as he's a man.
How many soldiers were there?
In history, I don't know if we know.
I don't know. You think there were a lot?
I can't imagine. No records. The Gemara says no mice about Sotah. As far as I know, there's a mice with a Sotah who drank. Excuse me, a Sotah who had her twin sister stand in her stead because she was guilty. And then when they came back and hugged and kissed because she was so thankful, that's when she injected one drop of the saliva and it had impact.
I saw a say from Yehuda HaChassid that he claims that the times for husband to take Sotah to the base of Mikdash was during Sholosh Regalim.
Interesting. Okay. Next paragraph talks about it. Okay. Bates. You Yerushalayim, they come to Yerushalayim, and Bates, and sits there amongst them. And they frightened her, and she, not in front of her husband, because he could embolden her and she could feel comfortable. The idea over here is we think that maybe she's guilty. We want her to confess. In case she's guilty, we shouldn't, first of all, she should lie. But also, we shouldn't have to have a Shem thing being erased. Now we scare her very much not to drink. Intimidate her. Remember, we tell her, beating my daughter. Alcohol has an impact. People are frivolous, has an impact. If you weren't raised properly, right? That's child abuse history, whatever it is, that can also have an impact. Maybe different things are impacted by bad neighbors, right? So these are all things that don't be embarrassed. Not even your fault. Even if, right? Exactly. Exactly. Don't tell her, listen, save yourself, don't die. We tell her this point is a main concern is that don't cause Hashem's great name to be erased. We tell her, beat my daughter, and many people came before you, made this mistake, and they didn't admit, and they were washed away from the world. And many great people, their Yitzhak got the better of them, and they succumbed. And his daughter-in-law, even though over there, again, the first explained why there was no Avera, but we tell her to impress upon her that
that story she knows.
Oh, exactly. And now it says, this is very interesting. We tell her the Maisa, where it says the person Ruvain slept with Bilah.
What about Mike with two daughters?
It says, it says, Vayishka Ruvain Pladashov.
No, it says he changed the bed.
That's Rashi. That's Rashi. The Chiddush we tell her, that's what we know from Rashi. The Gemara says, we tell her the story Kipshut.
Now, the pastor did read it.
Yeah. Because for someone like Ruvain's stature, to do that was. So what's funny is that Alpi Teda is not true. There's no data, there's no shot that it actually happened. The Gemara comes along and says there wasn't Kipshut. In other words, it's like saying Ayat Tachas Ayin means you actually poke his eye out. It's not Teda, it's above Meiser.
Right.
But because that's how the pasuk writes it, you tell her that way to convince her not to, which is interesting. It's almost like you're telling her a lie. But because the Torah writes it, you can lie to her. That's what it seems.
What about the story with Mike and his two daughters?
He wasn't a person of stature, so it's not that impressive. That's my guess. I don't know. David's son, who who was Ma'anis's half sister. The Hakal Ashted, in order to make it impress upon her that she should be easy for her to confess. If Amr hates if she confesses, or she says, I'm not drinking now, but you talk me out of it. But I'm still innocent. She gets divorced. She forwards to Ksuba and she leaves. Gimel. And of course, she's also on that person forever. Also, the other on the man. Gimel. If she maintains her innocence,
she says she was innocent. Why is she also on it?
Because she refuses to prove her innocence by drinking.
Okay.
Just like the husband died because he couldn't without being able to make her drink.
The husband over here just not he got bitter, but he took on a divorce without his that. Right, he's doing this thing that I can't decide now.
Yeah, he's also so
automatically she got a divorce from him.
Yeah, but
but it was without his consent.
Yeah, just like if there's Adam should have it's also without his consent.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah. If she maintains her innocence, bring her to the eastern gate of the Azara, which is famously called the Shar Nikadur. Right, that's the one on top of the 15 steps, which then you go right to the Hilchos. Actually, if they go right from the Esnashim to the Azara, which is in line with the Keshet Dashim. We take her from one place to the other, and we make her walk around, make her crazy, basically. The Yaga actually takes a napkin and we tire her out until she becomes fed up. Well, I tell you, maybe she'll admit. So we break her resilience, right? We're wearing her down. If she still maintains her innocence, you have her stand on outside the eastern gate on the outside. Bring her back to where she was the first time before we made her walk around her coffin. We bring her back to the Sham. We have her stand there. Now, here is where Bezin goes to different lengths to disgrace her. If she was wearing white, which is considered more of a favorable color, we have her wear black. Now, this is interesting. What if black looked good on her? She should have to wear something that does not look attractive. So what on one person is theistic is on another person not theistic. So, all right, Masirin or attractive is not another person. Masirin called Chali Akesef is off all the ornaments, jewelry of gold and silver. We take it off of her. Hey, when we have people gather around, all the women there should gather around to see her. So all the women who are present at the time have an obligation to observe this. Shemar, it says, that all the women should be aware and not fall this negative path. To this nus, a man who wants to see, you can come and see as well. He doesn't have to go. The women are supposed to. The men, it's not. It's voluntary. She stands among them without a cloak or without a veil, rather than her regular clothing and a covering, a kerchief on her head. As a woman is in her house again, which is embarrassing for her to be in public wearing this type of clothing. It's more of
the head is not covered, like she uncovers the head in the house.
So in the house, like a tiffle, yeah. The kippah is like a cap, like some kind of kerchief cover, handkerchief cover. So in the times of the Gemara, it was apparently very common for women to, even in the house, which is appropriate thing to do, to have the head covered as well, right?
Yeah.
Not at the same degree. So the outside, I remember, right, she has to have much more extensive head covering.
Yeah.
In the house, it's less extensive. Okay, vote. We don't let her servants or slaves be present. She recognizes them, and she's calm by them. She's emboldened by them. We want her to be less assertive. Afterwards, the Kohen administers her a shavua in a language that she recognizes. And he informs her that this whole thing that's causing this problem for her is only the fact that she was warned. Then she hid herself with the person she was warned not to hide herself with. She came to Levi of Nisto. If I even and we tell her the lashon that she recognizes, you don't have to use the words of the Chumash. You use a language she knows, because she has to know that she's accepting part herself the oath. If no one lied with you, he didn't stray in a tumah way under your husband. First, you can be innocent in these waters. Don't worry. Now, this is in keeping with the concept that when it comes to dinner Natasha, she's supposed to first warn the person, tell the person rather, if you're innocent, don't worry. That's the first thing. However, if you did stray in a way that became impure under your husband, she became impure. And a man besides, this is the lashon of pasuk, right? Who besides your husband lied with you, Hashem is going to make you a curse and an oath among your people. Meaning that if a person wants to make an oath, he's going to say, if I'm lying, it should happen to me the same that happened to this lady. Which it says Hashem causes your thigh to fall away. It's with the tzova and your stomach to distend. And the water will come into your stomach, cause your stomach to distend and to bust, and to the thigh to fall away. She says, Amen, Amen, Blush in again, Amen, if she doesn't know what the word means, she has to say it in the language she knows, which means accepting the Shavua. And the Gemara explains she does it twice if it's with this man, with the previous man, right? Because if she happened before and she wasn't busted, it'll happen now. If we had clarified to her that what's first going to happen is the stomach is first impacted. Afterwards, the thigh is impacted. Even though the pasuk is the reverse lashon the first time it talks about it. People are
smoking.
Yeah, I don't know. They should not gossip about the water. In other words, if it's going to happen, if you don't tell her that, someone who's people who refuse not to believe, but it's true, will say, "Oh, this was a freak accident. It wasn't
really the Shema first
because if the pasuk says the thigh and then the stomach, and it was the reverse. So we tell her that the water it has impact in the order that it
enters the body.
Right. Test. After you bring a megillah, a scroll of leather of parchment, kosher animal, as is the Sefer Torah. All the criteria on which the Sefer Torah must be written. You write on it in Lashon Kodesh. This you don't do the language she recognizes. This has to be the Lashon of the pasuk. With ink, doesn't have kankantim, which is like a type of extract from walnut juice that when you put it in ink, makes it impossible to erase. Shema Shel Isha, he has to write it for the sake of this woman. You can't just have a whole stack of this thing that is a mikdash to be used as needed. It's not how it works. It has to be written for this person. It might get like a get. Because it's called and all the things that he tells him the Torah. All that part of the parasha of Sotah, which he tells her and informs her a shvua that if he makes her make a shvua that she's telling the truth when she says I'm told, and he makes the water make a shvua, so to speak, that if it's going to do what it has to do if she's lying. So that has to be written on this parchment word for word. Because Hashem and you write Hashem's name as it's written Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the chayra. You would think if it's being written only to erase, write Shem Adonai. Why?
I thought it was the 72-letter name.
No.
That's what it says. Shema Mafaydish.
Shema Mafaydish.
No.
Shema Mafaydish is not the 72.
Oh no. So the Yud Kei Vav Kei, when you write it out like Yud Vav Dalet, hey, Vav is Vav, hey. There's different permutations. So one of them is 72 letters.
Yeah, no, here it's Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Yeah, here's Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yeah.
So that's
how I was thought.
Yeah. And that whole thing of a Shem Ab, Shem Sag, Shem Ban, Shem Mag, those are all different permutations of Yud. Yeah. Right? How do you spell hey? Hey, or hey Aleph?
I understand that, but I'm saying that's how you achieve those numbers. But there's a specific Shem Hamafaydish.
Yeah, no, but here, but Shem Hamafaydish means Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Okay.
Usually, yeah. And case of Amin, you doesn't write the words Amin Amin. That's in the Chumash, but saying the woman has to say it. Okay. Afterwards, Lachates, maybe Kli Chesh, and also the Lacham has to be a new earthenware vessel. It cannot be something which looks old, even if it was never used for malacha, sitting around for a long time, it could look old. So it has to look new as well. If you put it back into a kiln, so it renews its newness, it's kosher, it's kosher. You have to put a half a lug of, which is 2 revi'asim, like basically 6 ounces of
water from the kiyar.
Of water from the kiyar. The truth is, the Gemara says give any klisharis, I think, but the chatzil from the kiyar. They measured that chatzi lug from there was a special measuring cup of a half a lug. They would pour it from the kiyar into the half a lug, and from there apparently into this unique earthenware vessel. And with this, he goes into the heichel, into the kodesh. Good. What were you doing there? To the right, when he went to the heichel, that room where the banner was with the shulchan, and on the right side there was a tile or space. An Amma square.
That's already a private area. That means the crowd doesn't follow her there anymore. The women that were watching.
Correct.
It's only her and the
no, he just kind of goes by himself. This is just him by himself.
Oh, he by himself. No, she doesn't go in there.
No.
Okay.
There was a tile in Amma square of marble. And there was a little ring attached to it. With this ring, he was able to pick up the tile. It was not attached to the floor, no cement. He would take some dirt that was part of the karka of the Mishkan, which is funny because it was a Mikdash, but he calls it Mishkan because in the Midbar that's what it was, because that's Lashon of the Pasuk. He puts it on top of the water so that it should be visible. And there's no sheer of how much dirt it has to be. It has to be enough that you could see it. You can see there's dirt in the water. Then you have to put actually something bitter into the water, into the water. It can go line up, it's like it's a wormwood or anything else.
It's that they had these problems in the mikvah too.
Okay.
No, this could just be.
No,
we'll see.
Does not
what
have
that
to,
actually happened.
It didn't have to happen.
But they're not bringing out Lashon Mishkan.
No, but it doesn't mean that it happened.
Because the
Lashon Mikdash.
Okay, 1 second. Shemard says Me'amor, it says bitter water. So Pashas bitter waters is that bitter in terms of context.
Right.
It calls bitter that, but that tells you also you're supposed to make the water taste bitter. So Lana is wormwood, I believe. It translates over as wormwood. And the there's no din. As long as it's bitter, you want to put mar inside. Okay. Now you erase that Megillah you wrote. The Shema, you erase it. Just you wrote it for her. You erase it for her into this water. You have to erase it very thoroughly. It has to be no trace of the ink left on the parchment, which is why you don't put the content in the ink because you can't erase it. Oh yeah, okay, maybe this is okay. Interesting, because who says it has to be a different kohen?
No.
Okay, interesting, because you say this is Acher.
Also.
Here's his echad. Okay, good. So afterwards, a kohen comes to her from a purchase from one of the kohanim of that Zorah. He grabs hold of her clothing in the front, the kohen, and he rips it. Until he uncovers her part. Megala Sotah, and he has to uncover her hair. And undoes the braiding of her hair. All this is to disgrace her. Maybe Chevel Mitzvah that he brings a rope, which is called the Chevel Mitzvah, a special type of rope. It's an Egyptian rope. Because she acted in the way of the Mitzrayim, even if she's innocent, because she might drink and be innocent. But the fact that she's included herself with this person, after being told not to specifically, that itself is not appropriate. If they didn't find that kind of rope, maybe Chevel will come up and bring any kind of rope. And they tie it just above her chest, because that her garment should not fall down if she's unclothed. Because they've been torn. So even though you rip it to disgrace her, you don't like to leave it that way indefinitely. So you bring this makeshift rope to tie it up. Good days. Now there's a carbon that comes along with the seder. You have to bring a tenth of barley flour. It belongs to the husband. The husband has to bring this on his own. It's not sponsored by the Beit Hamikdash. That's not a carbon siddur. You put it in an Egyptian basket again for the same reason, because she did a ma'aseh mitzvah. Who pays for this rope and for this special basket? The husband brings it from his house in a Tupperware pot. Who pays for the special Egyptian basket? It comes to Mishar Lishka. When you bring the shkolim, we said there's 3 boxes of 9 kavin each, or 9 kavin each. If we fill up all these coins, and anything just does not fit there, the surplus is on the side. That's where this comes from. You put it on her hands. Again, this is to tie her out. So when you physically tie her out, she again emotionally is less resistant, and that she's more likely to confess. Gimel. Afterwards,
we're still hoping for a confession even up to this point.
Yeah, right. Did we say she drinks yet? No, we didn't say. No. Good. Yeah. Afterwards.
Except no, but once they erase Hashem's name, then she's going to drink.
So lav dafka. We'll see in a second. We'll see. The point of no return. We'll describe it. We'll see
when the water's already in her.
So there's two opinions. We'll see how that unpasses. 1 second. Because again, there's 2 days. Well, there's 2 days. What comes first? Do you first bring the carbon, or do you first have a drink? Well, the Rambam passing we'll see in a second. And based on that, we'll see the Rambam's point of no return. Afterwards, you take this mincha from this Egyptian basket, and you put it into a proper klisharis that's mekadosh in the Beit Hamikdash. This carbon is the only other carbon mincha besides for a carbon chata, so you don't put frankincense on it, you don't put oil. Nothing if you do, like each one is individual law for itself. Shemar, it says, it says no for each time. Don't put shemen on it, don't put Levi.
But use it, but you have to bring it.
You have to bring the carbon, right?
But they're warning you.
You have to bring Levi, and then you have to bring shemen.
No. There's no shemen or Levi with this.
Only barley flour.
Right. So the barley flour, it's.
But you don't put it on. You don't put it on the carbon.
You're saying if it's mixed with the fine flour before?
No.
I don't think so. No. Yeah, there's no shemen, no Levi. Right. So the thing is, don't think that if you put shemen, it's one malchus, and Levi is one malchus. That's also one malchus. But that's not the case. It's 2 separate malchus. Good. So, and before we commented the other day about why is it I'm put it over here, not in the halachos of Hilchos Kavanos, because this is part of degrading the woman. This is the only you bring a carbon, no Shem, no Levina. It's a major exception. Yeah, you doubt the chayr. Calls mancha preparation as long as her hair is uncovered that whole entire time until she drinks. You put the tenth of the ephah on her hand. You have mine, and sorry, while the hair is uncovered and she's holding onto this carbon. You have mine the water should be in the kohen's hand. And she should be sure, see the water and be intimidated. Shem, it says when the Perek describes the whole procedure of being the carbon in the hand of the kohen should be this bitter water. And then afterwards he has her drink. Now, till this point, if she says I'm not drinking, she has the right to say I'm not drinking, even though the bill is erased. Yeah. Now,
there's still not the point of no return.
No, so
that's
one.
That's not.
So going Rambam sheet to do it.
Gemara says once they erase
that once it's erased, she has to drink.
Right.
She can't change it.
I don't think that's true.
I think that's what it says in the
Gemara
Gemara.
makes two opinions. One opinion is that you first bring the carbon.
Yeah, but once first bring the carbon.
Sorry.
Yes, first.
Okay, so let me tell you why you're right. Once Hashem's name is erased, if she says I'm not drinking, it's not an option.
Right.
But she could still confess I'm guilty and then not drink.
I'm saying, so there's still not a point of no return.
Right. Before Hashem's name is erased, you could say I'm innocent, but I'm not drinking. After Hashem's name is erased, that's not an option. The only option is to say I'm guilty.
Right.
Good.
So that's the whole reason for the drinking.
Right.
Actually, the confession was in order you shouldn't erase the Shem Fighters, but she went beyond that.
Right. Over here.
Before.
But once that it's erased, the reason why she can
The drink, because
admit
you're drinking,
is
yeah.
because the whole reason for the drinking is to show if she's
Guilty.
Yeah.
Right. The Mashka is that afterwards you have her drink. So this is the last chance. Once she drinks. So now I'm going to raise a question in a second. According to Rambam, she first drinks, and after she drinks, they bring the carbon. So 1 second. After you have her drink, after she drinks, okay, then once she drinks, okay, she finished. You take the kli that had the kli sharis, which had the carbon in it. You put it in her hands. The kohen puts his hand under her hands and he waves it on the eastern side of the alzara. As you do with the waving of every carbon. But you bring it back and forth to pick it up and down. Why?
Because once she drinks, it could be it takes effect immediately.
No, so according to the opinion of the Gemara that you first bring the carbon, the moment she drinks, takes effect. According to the Shimon, which is how the Rambam Paskins, that once she drinks, another necessary step is the carbon. The carbon is another activating factor. Afterwards, you have to touch the carbon with most carbon menachos to the southwest corner of the Beis Hamikdash, excuse me, as you do with every individual carbon menachos. The kohen takes the kmitza. She throws it on the mizbeach, and everything else the kohen eventually will eat. Now, halachas design describes what happens whether she's guilty or not. The moment that the chayre takes effect is either when he touches the mizbeach or when he takes the kmitza. I forgot which one it is. Now, what happens if after she drinks, he's walking over to the mizbeach? She says, "You know what? I'm guilty. I confess." Is it too late? I don't know.
The kmitza is done when it's still in powder form or already got wet.
No, so the kmitza by a carbon mincha is done when it's still in the flour before it's baked. Yeah.
I think that the admitting it after this whole thing is only saying that she's admitting that what the punishment is right for. I don't know that if it would be for.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So say if I don't know.
It could be once she drinks already, she's in trouble.
Yeah. No, but can she?
There's nothing for her to admit.
Yeah. So the okay here Tezayin.
One thing of the carbon now, the kmitza that he already threw, it's already a dough, right? When he throws it on the mizbeach.
Yeah. Well,
the
flour of a sotah is what's mixed with water. I don't remember it. I don't.
Oh, he might be throwing it on the powder. No, but we said the kohen eats it.
So yeah. So
the kmitza is a kmitza. It doesn't matter. It has to be the right way.
He said he's throwing it into the fire as a powder or as a dough.
I'm not sure.
Well, it has to be with oil.
No,
so she doesn't have
no oil, no frankincense.
So it could be, I pushed, I'm embarrassed, I don't remember.
I don't know.
It could be that there's a basic oil you mix with it, there's extra oil you pour on it. The extra oil
I mean,
she doesn't get, I don't remember.
According to Sotah, I mean,
Okay, but-
the fact of the ikar is that she drinks and that she's in
Right.
trouble.
What's not convenient if it's a powder form
Yeah.
of dope?
Because you can't eat it then.
No, because the kmitza is
Afterwards.
not eating. It goes in the
They
stomach.
only just
The
have to put it.
remainders.
The remainder,
besides
right.
the kmitza. Like every cart.
Then they get cook it. Then
Okay.
they cook it.
Yeah.
Whatever they do.
Yeah, they bake it. Design. Im tahiri. Now the moment I think it's the moment that we touch the mizbeach. I think afterwards the chiv kmitza. I think the moment we touch the mizbeach, that's when the carbon is considered.
I think it says that more about it.
All right. Im tahiri, if she's pure, she goes on her way. Nothing happened. She's obviously innocent. Raymond Tesla bylaw, she is mortar to her husband. And there's more to that we'll see. Better things happen to her. If she's guilty, Marika's immediately her face becomes green. They now boil taste and her eyes protrude. The smallest getting she comes, her veins, become full of
Pop out.
Look at the cartoons, right? The bush out of her head, out of her face, yeah. They say Hitziyua, instead of you twice, Hitziyua or one time.
True.
Yeah, take her out. They take her out. They should loy tifash nida. She shouldn't become a nida because the fear, sudden fright, might make her become a nida. But nidus metamas as a snoshim. That's what it's about you. Said motion. The nida makes as a snoshim tummy. Now the truth is that the chodam means that a nida is not allowed to be an azor.
Right.
The ezras noshim per se is only the rabbanon. The ezras noshim has to do the harabayis. So Akapanim, she's not allowed to be there where she is. Therefore, take her out. The hey metzina is of ezras noshim. She has a bar. They take her out of the ezras noshim where she is standing. No, so the whole time she's outside the Azor in the Ezra's Noshim. Right. So because I'm sorry, Anita is not allowed to be in the Harabayis.
How does she?
A Mitzayra is not allowed to be Rishalayim.
And how do they retire themselves?
Mitzayra,
yeah, has to go.
Yeah, the Kohen goes outside. There's different stages.
She's on Harabayis.
So there's different stages in the Torah.
And Anita is also on Harabayis.
So 1 second, let's clarify again. A Seirah has to be outside the city of Yerushalayim, or any walled city for that matter. A Zav can come in the city, but has to be out the Harabayis. And someone who is a Tmei Mace, or even a dead body itself, can come onto the Harabayis, but not Nazar. So this woman has to be removed from the Ezra's Noshim and from the Harabayis. Okay, because of this tumah. First, her stomach would.
And there may be tumah that she might become a needle. We said
right.
Yeah, well, they think it's going to happen.
We don't know. Beat the tumah. First, her stomach falls away, or stands. The tumah, then the thigh falls away, and then she dies. Now,
she does die.
Yeah,
she's guilty. Absolutely,
sure she dies.
Absolutely, Yud Zayin. See, at that moment when she dies, the guy who is the other partner in crime over here, he might be halfway across the world in a Chinese restaurant. He dies also. This is better than those exact same things that happened to her happened to him. Now, this whole thing is only if the husband never had a relationship in his life. Right. If the husband ever had a relationship, the whole idea is that since he is a person of upstanding stature regarding relations, it's right that his wife should be the same level. And if he is himself a person who's monkeying around, in a mind breaking this issue, the water does not impact his wife, as we said. And we said even if he has a relationship with his wife after kedushin before the suyin, that's enough of a problem that doesn't impact his wife.
Well, here it says that shall issue.
Good.
That's it. That's an issue.
If he has a relationship with somebody that is not the issue.
No, economically, I'm saying the husband has to be somebody. Yeah, so the husband, for example, even if
he did something, he had relations.
Which are awesome. Absolutely. Of course.
He's allowed to have two wives, so it's not a problem.
Of course. We said even if he has relations with his own wife after kedusha, right. Now, here's the question.
One more point also is that
while she was in a rooster,
not only back relationship but any other previous one wasn't caught on. So maybe there's more than one man is going to be dying.
Interesting point.
If he ever had relations that were forbidden.
Again, but why does it have to bring all that? It is saying that the same thing that happens to her happens to him.
Right.
Now, Rambam pointed out that we know that it says that if she was ever guilty from a previous episode, all is accountable. So it could be when she dies, 10 of the men that die around the water. That could be. I don't know. It depends. If he transgresses and has his wife drink the certain waters, even though he knows that he did something prohibited, He's adding a avera to his avera. He's causing Hashem to be erased for no reason because the water is ineffective. If he's doing a big avera, he's having her drink,
knowing that
erased, knowing that he himself once stepped out of line and it's not going to be effective.
She's going to drink and nothing's going to happen.
Even though he didn't do a chiyuv misa, but he did something. He was
going to bring a second. We had no right to do that.
Exactly.
Not he'll be with her. He could have done anything.
Yeah.
Anything that he ever did, he shouldn't have done.
Any forbidden relations.
Any forbidden relations that he had
outside of his wife.
Outside, anything else. Yeah. If he was with his wife, when she was a needle, let's say.
Right. Everybody gets hit over here.
Then he's doing so is slandering the sacred waters. She's there, married to her. She can tell her friends, I'm guilty. He just know. She doesn't know. It's the husband's actual impact that he's not gonna. That's why it's not working. That's therefore. Once the idea of promiscuity became so widespread during the during the time of Hilchos Perek, Bidlas and Hedges now Morim and Hedges stopped using the Morim, the Sotah waters. Some cost of Kabbalah, and they took a hint from what it says in Kabbalah and Hosea, the Hiloi Tate. Excuse me. I'm not gonna punish your daughters when they act in znus. And therefore, they said that because the average man now, or the large unfortunate percentage of men are guilty, so the whole thing has become a joke and ineffective. It's better call the whole thing off.
Because of the fact that her husband, who also was a fool.
Because we have to be worried about that. Sotah Sheish was supposed to Talmud Torah. Sotah is a source of Talmud Torah. Now, what does the Talmud Torah mean? Just a mitzvah of learning. She has a source of Talmud Torah.
Yeah.
The Rambam sounds like he's saying the source of learning Torah. The Gemara says it talks about helping the husband learn, but in that case, he wouldn't have to add, even though she's not mitzvah. Who cares if mitzvah? I'm helping you do a mitzvah. You're a kohen, I'm helping you do that avodah. I'm a Levi, I'm Yisrael. That sounds like actually the schus of actual learning Torah. Fine. This schus has an impact and it lightens the load for her. She won't die immediately, even though she's guilty. In my case, that's that she gradually decays. The illnesses come upon her until eventually she will die after 1 or 2 or 3 years. It's also depending on how much Torah she learns. Eventually she will die from the stomach, the swelling, and 2 3 years eventually, and her falling away. Yeah. A Sotah who drinks it does not die immediately. She's mutter to her husband, even if he's a kohen. Even though immediately she gets sick, still since she did not get to the state yet where her stomach is swelling and her thigh is falling away, she's mutter to her husband. Because maybe it's something else, we don't know. But once she gets to the stage in the illness where her stomach is swelling and her thigh is falling away, she's also her husband, and therefore she's not allowed to be with him. A woman who drank and she was tar. Not that she was innocent because she looked out there. She was not Torah. She did something inappropriate, but she didn't actually commit adultery. She becomes stronger and healthier. Her face brightens. She was ill. The sickness which did not let her become conceived. That she moved away. Mrs. Aber until Zachar. She become pregnant shortly, and she'll have a male child. If she usually had a lot of birth pains, she'll give birth easily, quickly. She usually had girls. She'll now have more males. After she drinks, witnesses come and say that she is guilty. Like any case, she's usher on her husband. She has to get divorced without ksuba.
There were no Adim. What's the story here?
Their Adim afterwards come and say we saw her in the Zama.
Oh, there was the Adim for the steerer, but there was no Adim for the
right. Not the first set of Adim, the second set of Adim.
Right, a different set of Adim. Yeah. No, we'll see. One Adim after. One second. One Adim is with them. We're going to 2 Adim. 1 second. Hold your horses. 2 Adim came and said after she's drank and she survived that she's guilty. Either that episode or a different episode. She has to leave her husband. She's awesome. A few years later,
the waters didn't work.
Correct. And even though no impact, she's not sick at all. If they should aid the waters are only affected if there's no aid. If there are aid, we don't know about the waters are unaffected. That's what nothing happened to her. Additionally, maybe your husband is guilty. That's why the water didn't work. Two different reasons possibly. I think 1/8 comes and says she's guilty after she drank and survived. Assuming she's not also her husband, because she drank and stay with the husband. So the 1/8 is only believed if he comes before she drinks.
Right.
Once she drinks, then the 1/8, 2/8 are required. That's halacha. A woman who's mazana by oinis or b'shkaga, she didn't know that it was inadvertently. Or the person had physical connection with her, but it wasn't actually the course. And at my opinion, the waters are not going to check her. It says she wasn't forced. Excludes someone who's forced. She was forced with the coercion. She committed transgression against her husband, which is if she's accidental. A man lied with her carnally. This excludes someone who has physical relations without actually having intercourse.
And therefore she would not, the water would
The waters would not exactly.